hypnotized.
Live on camera and watches things go kablooey because it's Minecraft and they always do. There we go. Just fix the chat for you there. Current screen's a little weird. Hold on. Okay, I can fix it. Or at least approximate a fix for it. Anyways, last week we did not have a Building Blocks stream due to technical difficulties of the highest order. Beginning with fixing having an echo on everything, because it turned out that somehow my audio was coming through twice, including outside of XSplit's actual microphone, and with a slight delay, which resulted in a perpetual echo, unless I muted XSplit's actual microphone capacity, so, yep. And then right as I finished fixing that, there was, I would say an update, but really it was more of a service shutdown to a plugin required for XSplit to stream to Twitch. So I couldn't actually go live, and the error message that it gave me was not the least bit helpful in diagnosing that. Unfortunately, a couple people on Twitter did help me diagnose that, so we were able to actually get out on the first day. And I have nonetheless been a busy this past week, so let's boot up, because everything I've done is visual based. There's not really anything I can show you that will be remotely understandable otherwise. So here we go. Meanwhile, I made probably the biggest purchase I have made since maybe 2009? Maybe. I think this might have still nonetheless been bigger. Which is that I have purchased basically all of the definitely vital parts we will need for a brand new machine, which will mean that when I boot up Minecraft for these streams, there won't be a break in the that there won't be like a break in the stream at all. It'll just be like booting up quite happily, cleanly. And it will also mean that I will not have to worry about the whole setup just breaking at any random point, any day coming. Major Elemental has been a very, very valiant steed. I don't know. Dutiful laborer this past decade, I think, give or take. But yes, definitely not doing too great. Anyways, here we are in just a random test world. I believe I'm currently spec'd as a insectile human. Which reminds me, I need to make forever sense to activate ability. Anyways, if I push this button, here we have the species selection screen, and you may notice that a couple of things changed. Firstly, we don't have any buttons on the side anymore. What we do have is this list of options, and if we click through them, we can select whichever one we want. And if I shrink the screen, it even has a scroll bar. Very nice, very flish. And also, we have a human species now. This didn't exist before. It was just sort of accepted as if you have no species, then you are basically human. But now if you don't pick a species, you are actually the human species. This is hard-coded, meaning it is always present. But if you create a human species in your data pack with different like stats and whatnot, then that will change here. It is an extremely reliable guaranteed default, effectively. Which means I have less to worry about from nulls going forward, and it also allowed us to add this. So we have our templates screen, which has been in development for a very long while, somewhat embarrassingly. These lists function on much the same premise as over here. So we come in here with our selected species, and over here is that same species after we do all of our applications in here. So for instance, I want it to be insectile, so now it's changed over here. And we can see that the stars are filling up because that is our limit. That is how many stars our character can have at creation, according to the server, so I can theoretically add as many of these as I want until I run out of stars, and then there we go. We have a clear button, we have a randomize button if you want to just get weird with your character for whatever reason. We did have much bigger textures, we had much bigger buttons over here previously, but I've scaled them down considerably, and once again, this whole thing scales. We're gonna start off, I think, by just slightly nudging this list to the left so it's a little bit more consistent with the spacing here, and then adding some textures onto the sides here so that things look a little bit cleaner, nice, a bit tidier, that sort of thing. And then I have some actual like other functions to add tonight, but otherwise it should be fairly chill. Otherwise, you do still have the option to skip character creation if you like. That will just set you to human, no templates, and then the system will just know that you're a humanoid with medium size, and that's it. Fairly straightforward there. If you want to just not care about your species and click select templates, it defaults to human. And if we were to pick a different one, let's say kobold, and go back, we see we start on kobold as well. So you know exactly what you're changing up. Otherwise, the templates have had a little bit of a rework. Mostly it's just, it's purely just like translation for the most part. So before, we see here we have gain abilities, that used to have individual entries. So it used to be gain ability blank, gain ability blank 2, gain ability blank 3, and it was fine, but it occurred to me that might be a little bit overwhelming. So now we actually have a function for determining if operations can be stacked together, and for abilities that means are we an ability add ability, or are we an ability remove kind of operation, that kind of thing. So lose like X, Y, and Z, gain X, Y, Z. So that's now helping that. I've also changed lose all health abilities here. This is a fairly common one with the undeads, because what happens with the undead is you lose your constitution modifier, so your health modifier is now 0, which effectively negates the health ability. But it previously said lose ability health plus 1 or whatever. So now it's just actually been translated, because now these operations can actually have custom display names to say lose all health abilities, which is much clearer than what we previously had. And lastly, the last little bit of change here is previously we had requirements N we previously had preconditions N and operations N. That is now requirements and changes, just to be a little bit more user-friendly. I'm very old hat with Dungeons & Dragons, so I'm well aware of what preconditions and operations means, but in this case, it seemed like it might be a bit more friendly to say requirements and changes. I think more people will have an intuitive understanding of what that means. There's still a couple of things here that can do with being langed. These, for instance, spell like supernatural. There's not actually anything that tells you what type a given ability is. That's probably something I could do with adding. But these are literally just the names of the enoms. So this isn't a translated name. So even if we change the language to be like Swahili, it will still say spell _ like and supernatural here, which is not too great. We want to make sure these are translated and actually like knowable. But anyways, that's that. So step 1, real quick for today, which is going to be moving this apart a little bit more, which is very, very easily done. These textures, by the way, the boundaries around these are drawn in post, and here's a thing to know. This texture over here, the actual, like, block that the species and whatnot is displayed in, that is one texture. And if I rescale the screen, you'll notice it doesn't really change size at all. Conversely, the list is now longer than that section, whereas previously it was shorter. Because of that function of lists, I can't actually just render a texture over this. So this texture boundary around here is assembled from 8 different hunks of texture, which are then also a separate texture to the ones used over here, just in case we want to change them, but they're also identical, so it's fine. And it just makes the lists look like they're sitting more in the screen a bit better, I feel. But anyways, so if we go to our species list here, I can just very easily set the, let's see, where are you? Init. There you are. If I set the left position -11, that should put it just a smidge across further. I think 2 pixels should about match that. This is an extremely nitty-gritty detail. I'll be very clear. But it just ties the 2 screens a bit better together. But okay, let's get to that. So that should be good to go. Let's have a look. And then the next thing to do is figure out how we want to redo the side displays on the template screen, so that players have a better knowledge of what's going on and it looks more like a cohesive piece of the screen. So we're turning the vertical width of the template lists does change with the scaling of like the resolution of your screen. It does not change the width, however. So on smaller resolutions like this, for instance, those side panels are heavily obscured, which is semi-okay because you can still see the bulk of information on at this resolution, and if you hover over them, they'll give you the full details. But that is a thing that we probably want to consider. Now there we go. Yeah, that looks to be about the same. Good. You'll also notice that the header, or the title of the screen, is also kept consistent. Just these tiny little details. Graphic design is not my passion, so this is purely things that I've been figuring out for many years of trial and error. But also, if anybody has any suggestions, do let me know, because Lord knows I have a very particular way of how I want my data, which is that I like character sheets. I love a good character sheet. I love a good spreadsheet. But that amount of information is massively overwhelming to most people and completely incomprehensible to many who are even like me. So I have to try and put a limiter between my urge to see all of the details at once and the point where that becomes completely inscrutable for a player who is maybe not as remotely at all familiar with Dungeons and Dragons and such as I am. Okay. Let's have a look at the template screen. So that's here. All straightforward, just gets passed through the species screen. The species screen still gets opened just like normally. It's fun when we get the quite properly trolling the trans tag trolls on Twitch, because they'll come in and say they'll question the how do I put this without just giving them fire? The veracity of my bust, shall we say? I guess. When in reality, they don't stick around long enough to know this because I ban them in almost instantaneously, but in reality my hair is more fake than my chest. Let that one marinate for a bit. Anyways. So, we have these displays, and it says 1 abilities right now. If I add insectile, it expands to 5, and we hover up to get that. What we could do is have a readout not unlike this. The worry I have is if we go to Green Dragon, then it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now this is a 5-star species, so most people aren't going to be playing with this, but they start off with 10, because that we're now also showing other details to them. Because things like armor and health aren't shown here, just for brevity. So, and then we can just up that to 10 again. Just there's a lot going on there. So we could show it all down the side here, up to say a limit. We could have it cycle, but either way, if we there's a bug I evidently have to fix. Wait, am I currently there we go. It's like, shouldn't I be currently burning alive? Yeah, purple. Okay. Select Green Dragon. Hit zombie. There we go. So we notice it cuts off at about the end of abilities there. It doesn't even show the full number here. And that is a consequence of just how wide these are, and I have shrunk them as much as I can. And it really is pushing it here, because you can see if Necropolitan here was 4 stars, the stars would actually be overriding the actual line of text here. This is about as small as I could make these. I could theoretically stretch a little bit more space out of them, but it is tight currently. So I can't really make these smaller, and they can't scale whenever we change the resolution. So these more or less have to stay as they are. And that then leaves us with this tiny amount of space either side to show more or less anything else. So how do we want to change this? Do we think that just having this summary and this hover over to get more detail kind of piece is okay? Is that enough? Or would it be better to have something a bit more complex to have that list, maybe, that we have over here? I don't know. What do we think in chat? Like, is there a better way to, like, list these perhaps? Like, here we have icons for what they are. Do I maybe just, like, show the icons? Do people necessarily even know what the icons mean at this stage? I would hope the icons are, like, texturing is, like, sufficiently cluing in there, but I don't know. Why choices early in the morning? Look, unfortunately, programming requires occasionally making choices. Oh yeah, we also don't have really any indication of what is an activated ability and what is a passive ability. Like, light sensitivity, strength, and small size is all passive. Dark vision is activated, just so you don't have to play with night vision all of the time. Fun fact here, by the way, with strength -2, your unarmed attack as a player is 1 damage. So that, by writ, means that you can't deal damage unless you have a weapon. Light sensitivity reduces your attack damage even further when you're in a bright enough environment. So basically, these two abilities combined really push Kobold players to play in the dark and underground and whatnot. Just a fun little detail. Then there's Creeper, which, by the sheer look of it, you would think this would be powerful as hell, because it has 4 different immunities, and then it's also immune to critical hits. Like, that is pretty potent right there. And then you realize 2 of these are to spells, which we haven't implemented yet. 1 is to paralysis, which currently nothing actually uses. Poison is more or less the rarest, or one of the rarest status effects in the game. Then you notice that it has strength -4, so unless it's wielding at least iron tier weaponry, it cannot deal damage physically. It's vulnerable to the most common form of damage in the game, like fire is heck easy to get. And then its only special attack is to, like, is to detonate. So it's like your only combat option, really, for a substantial chunk at least of the early game, is to die and hope that your death takes the enemy with you. That is it. It's like, this is that is why Creeper is a 0 star. But you know, if you wanted to be a celestial Creeper, you at least get some resistances there as well, and you can smite evil now, which adds a ton of damage based on your health total. So there's that. Just be an extra planar plant. But that is, however, only useful for the most part against neutral or the antithesis kind of like strategies. Also, be careful with your button clicks because you might hit explosion accidentally. But there's just a lot to like there. Damage reduction 5 or combined magic attacks. That's pretty nice. That could come in handy. If you just want to be a 2-star creeper. But these are the options that we give people. Okay, there's Green Dragon. So how can we make this a bit clearer? Bearing in mind, we can't really change the tooltip part because the tooltip part is fairly vital for how much space we have here. Let's start off by trying to gain a little bit more space by just, like, squeezing this as much as we can. I think we can move the arrows a little further across there, and then we can move the names and whatnot closer across here. That should buy us a bit more space. Hopefully. So for that, we want a template list, and our width currently is 150. I don't think we're gonna get third back, so let's say 120. This will mess up with the formatting, but we'll just see how much that gains us. That is the right variable, right? width, then height. Good, good, good. I did contemplate things like you push a button and it displays a character sheet of some description, but it occurred to me quite quickly that if you're adding templates and removing templates in a like haphazard fashion or whatnot, then it would be very easy to miss things changing. So didn't want to do that too much. Okay, so yeah, we can definitely rework the scaling a bit. We can rework the elements distribution here, I think, quite happily. And that has gained us a fair bit more space. Let's pick Green Dragon again as our overkill option. Yeah. Okay, good. That does seem a bit better. Need to move the text further to the left here. We can go to here before it actually impacts that. We can even stand to move that icon a bit further across. These arrows, I think, can stay where they are, which means we can also move the stars further across. I think, maybe not. Okay. So let's go to the list entry, and where is your name? There is your name. Let's see. Left segment is row left plus 4, so 4 plus the 16 size of the pick of the actual icon, that would be plus 20. And that should get... But yeah, you can see what happens here if you have too long of a name and too many stars. Fortunately, I can't draw the text over top of the stars, because for whatever reason it makes them go dark. I'm not 100% certain why, just yet. As I say, graphics design, not my specialty. AI, that's my specialty. Systems construction, that I can do. But okay. Let's reboot this and see what happened there. Used to be I could change stuff, like, in the dev space, and it would change live, and as long as I didn't create a bug, that was fine. Unfortunately, if there's an option to engage that, I've yet to find it. Is the music still too loud? Just let me know. I can change that. Okay, so yeah, there we go. That's a bit better. That is about as narrow as we could feasibly make it, though. Like, it's a good thing most of these templates are 2-star only. More or less around 3, we start to get into the point of, yeah, this is definitely going to intersect. Do we think that's good? Let me just shove that there. I think it's mostly good. Mostly. That does buy us a bunch of space over here, which is nice. Gives us an actual area to work with. We're showing more here than the bar Jeremy tends to work with. Whereas we're actually also showing your stars over here. Because over here it says 0, but it's also saying like 6. Whereas if I have it over here, we actually see those stars. We should show at least 1. just so you have a guarantee of knowing it's 0. Gain a bit more by moving this icon further across. That would reduce the chances of the text running over it. That is +4. Let's make that say +1. So 16 +1, that would be 17. And I need to change this greater than 1 and lower than 17. Okay. Audio's good? Yay. And not echoing, I hope to God. Expert actually, like, when I was setting up for the stream today, Expert said that there was an update that I should apply, and I was like, nope, not doing that. not again. Not applying a new Expert update at like quarter to stream time. Not today, Satan. Still functions as we'd like it to. Buys us a bit more space from the stars. It is definitely as dense as I could reasonably make it, I think. I can also theoretically describe, like, just remove the stars entirely and just have that be in the tooltip, so it says, like, requirements, 2 stars, that kind of thing. That is a scorched earth option, I think, because I like having the stars here. Gives a good at a glance kind of thing, and lets you know that that's actually like a cost. Also, sectile reptilian human. Heck of a parentage you must have there. It's actually, it's actually a fairly decent start. 2 natural armor, 2 + 2 health, that's an extra heart and a hunk of armor just off the bat. You can also climb, have dark vision, you can hold your breath, you have scent at 16 meters, and you have tremor sense at 16 meters. So basically, you're always going to be able to follow people. Like there's hardly a prey you will not be able to track. It's like, oof, that's pretty nice. That's a lot of stuff right there. Granted, that is a 4-star. So if you pick a 2-star, I don't know if we have any 2-star humanoids. Yeah, most of the humanoids are 1-star. Troglodytes, there we go, that's a 2-star. Insectile. Alright, we already have the reptilian, so we can't add the reptilian template. Yay! Functioning as intended. But we can be insectile. There we go. Climb, dark vision, tremor sense, natural armor +6, health +4. Yeah, there's a reason that that's such a high grade. There we go. Just like off the bat, just 3 points of armor, 2 extra hearts. Like, the things you can build with this. I love it. Reptilian, celestial, winged human. Sure, let's build that. Yep. I can fly now. I love this. And I've been a lot of my like ideas of how to improve these screens have just been from like I have been through these screens so many times, just testing them. Just testing distinct little things. So like the clear button down here is a fairly recent addition. And it just does exactly what it says on the page, just empties your selected templates. Okay. I'm rambling. I'm waffling. Let's actually have... Let's make sure the star always shows up there, I think. So that is under troll-based stats. And base power, ooh, is different to how it's handled down here, which is total stars. So there's the power, and then there's total stars, so max total stars and template power, total stars being target power, that being what we have to show anyways. I should be able to just say how many stars we want, so it's total stars equals max 1 and base power. The absolute, because theoretically there is a red star option, which is when your power is negative, when it is subhuman. Work just fine, I think. I can change it here if we want to. Yeah, let's see how that runs. So now it should always display a star. Yeah, what do we think? Do we want to keep the stars displayed on the buttons, or should we just have that moved into the requirements section of the actual tooltip? Bear in mind, the templates, as we've seen, are live filtered. So every time you add a template, it removes all of the templates that you can no longer apply. So, to a certain extent, you don't actually need to know the requirements at all. Just the changes. You'll always end up with some kind of combination that you are, by the power limits and whatnot, able to apply. Okay, yep, there's a problem. Oh, forgot about that part. Okay, so how did that happen? Exposition minus the power, which is 0 times 9. I see. Okay. There we go. Fix that up. Should I just give this like an X plus base value? I wonder. Probably. Help me change things later. And I'll do the same for the templated stats, just in case we need to move those across a little bit. Okay. Now I can move those around. That will be very handy when we start to texture things, because they're right next to here, which is not a good place to be if you want to add some texture to this. Do I want to make that look like this? That is the question. Like you got your properties based on your creature types and such. We got your abilities, your stars. Don't know how well I want to combine these two things. Okay, and now I can say, let's add, say, 4 to that, and let's minus 4 for that. And that should move everything further away from the lists into that space we've just freed up. templates right now. I would like to add more before I do a release. One thing I have done is all of the code related to possession has now been excised to its own branch, which is basically just a way of segregating code so that I know it's not going to interfere with other things whilst it's in development. And that feature has been put on the back burner, just so that I can actually have a release sometime this year. We will get back to it. Bodies are still in here. We will be trying to fix those up. There's very few bugs left in those, but we want to get those done. Well, those are a nice little detail, I think. And they're not necessarily mandatorily entwined with possession, so it should be okay. Okay, yep, there's a problem there. Probably because we manually calculated that. This side is just fine. Good. It does appear that things have, for the most part, worked out there. So base stats, exposition minus. No, that should be fine. Exposition isn't modified there. It's because that should be max. I'm guessing it should be max. Yes. Not min. So if the base species power is 0, then it should be at least 1, so we can still show the 1 star. I think that's good. Should be it. Everything else is moved across, so the exposition is correct. Okay. A lot of trial and error here. I figure as long as we can at least show what we currently have on the smallest resolution, the resolution that it starts with, then we'll count it as good. I never play at that resolution, but a lot of people have much worse machines than I do. I am very privileged in that regard. And I am, like, bottom of the rung poverty bracket, but still nonetheless have a machine that is actually prohibitively expensive to upgrade. Like, to most people. I'm very lucky to have the friends that I do, who are not only willing but able to help me out. And the good news here is that whilst this is still fairly small, it does actually already have built-in controls. So we see here, if we have the extra planar template, the fiendish template, we become an extra planar humanoid. But our type listing doesn't actually go past the extra of extra planar, which means this is already limited, which means we already have it confined to a space. So we can actually make sure that it. Why is human written to 1 there? That's not right. Humans don't have 1 star. Humans are a 0 star. Humans are scrubs. There's a bug there. How many stars do we want to draw here? I believe it would be base power? Because base power minimum. That, like, total stars start at 1. Misplaced star. It looks nice and easy for a quick glance to understand. The info box is good, so it gets your code. Okay, good to know. Yeah, like if we wrap this up with a nice little bit of texturing, it should be fine. Just noticed that fiendish gets cleared from this. That's interesting. We probably want to make that redo this thing. Not sure. Let's see. Fiendish does still go off the screen at the smallest resolution, but I think it'll be good enough. But yeah, good. Okay. Let's make sure we got the right color of star. It's extremely rare to find anything that is below human level, like default absolute peasant human kind of power level. There's a long-standing joke in Dungeons and Dragons that a peasant can be murdered by a house cat. Just a regular human peasant, because their hit point, like if you're a human, all of your stats are 10, which is a +0 modifier. So basically you have no special skill whatsoever in anything. And if you're a peasant, the hit die is a d4, which means that your hit points range from 1 to 4. Typically you're level 1. Peasants are not usually very high level, nor is there any reason to class into the peasant class. But that means that a peasant has 4 hit points. A cat's claws are d4. In fact, I might be misremembering that very slightly. Cats might actually have even higher damage than I'm thinking of. Real quick, just checking the SRD. Okay, cats have 1d2 minus 4. What that means is that they always deal one hit point per attack. They also have 2 claws and a bite, which again, that's 3 points. They have a decent chance of just murdering a peasant. House cats are deadly creatures, and that's just a common house cat. So it is exceedingly rare to find any creature that has a negative level adjustment, which would be our shorthand for stars here. But oh boy, wouldn't it be interesting to try play that? There's your hardcore mode. Okay, is that gonna be good? Something's hacked here. That's usual. That's unusual. Interesting. What's happened there? Well, we'll have to find out in about 10 minutes when I come back from my break. See you then. Welcome back, everybody. Have a nice little break there. Have yourself a nice little drink and or snack. I realized what the problem was there, which was I accidentally an infinite loop, because when there are 0 stars, nothing was getting removed from total stars, so we just continually made stars. Yeah, that's the problem with a while loop, really. Anyways, let's see if I've managed to fix that appropriately. Worst case scenario, I'll just borrow code from the other side of the screen. Okay, so good. That's exactly what I want to see. And if I pick something like Green Dragon with a bunch, yeah, perfect. No problems there whatsoever. Correct. Okay. So, we now need to add some kind of boundary around here so that we can actually identify it as being a segment of interest, at least. Probably wants to be fairly tall. Because the number of stars increases the endpoint of this. Theoretically, there shouldn't be ever any more than like 10. 10 is the highest number of stars I put on anything. That is the number of stars for an Archfey. So if I just go into creative mode, there we are. Oh god, how does that even show up? I wonder. Does that just yeah, double lines. Oh lord. So, that is as many stars as we could theoretically put on, because creative players also don't have to worry about prerequisites. Or rather, they don't have to worry about actual, like, number of stars. They're allowed to have whatever they like. So, let's call that our limit. Let's say that is as much as it can go. Dear lord, the number of abilities. Of course, you also are vulnerable to evil damage, and you burn in sunlight. So there's that. Does Fiendish not have that? Fiendish does not have vulnerable to... Good, yeah, that's interesting. I wonder why that is. But yeah. Oh, we probably just... It's probably the application order, actually, come to think of it. It probably lost them because of zombie? Yeah. I think we start off with... Yeah. And then... Yeah, I get it. Okay. Yeah. That is a list and a half, ain't it? Oh boy. But you get Epic Resilience 20, you get damage reduction, fast healing, just, ooh, all of that. Okay. So let's assume that is indeed our top, our maximum scaling. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 levels tall. 9 times the text height of Minecraft is 18. That would be 162 pixels. Seems implausible, but these are 20 tall. So it's not that hard to believe. Anyways, here's all of the textures for the template screen. So let's just get ourselves a 100 by 100 for a hot second here. Doesn't need to be of any particular content whatsoever at this exact moment. We are just checking exactly how many pixels we have. Clear that list, thank you very much. Okay. We're going to want to start by actually blitting this. So where did I put blitting? I don't think I did it here. There we go. Let's look. There you are. Textures should be the right thing. Yes, this template selects. Very good. Okay. And we just want to say this dot blit matrix stack. Yes, our coordinates are going to be x position minus I think 20, possibly more than that. And our y position is going to be slightly more than that. So it's 20 plus this dot height, which is where our name starts. And our texture coordinates are 0 and 65. And I'm going to say it's probably going to be vastly more than we actually need, but it's what we're going to start with. Exposition minus 100. So just be cautious there a little bit. That's so I can actually see it on both of these. I swear my hair has like a brief window in which it is well behaved. There is like fresh after cleaning where it is fluffy as all hell, and then there is right before cleaning when it will not sit still as well. Okay, so how does that look? If we choose finish, okay, if we go insectile finish, we can definitely go a bit smaller. I think a little bit smaller than that. And if we choose archfey and everything, good. Okay, that does fit. It's actually a little bit more than we need, which is fine by me for the most part. So, if we do that again. If we shuffle this to the left a bit, move that to there, then we should be able to nestle this quite happily. So let me go here, go down to that, Y position, go. X plus plus equals 6, Y plus equals 6. That will then offset everything below that, nestling it inside of our texture. And then we want to do more or less the same thing over here. More or less. Not quite perfectly. More or less. doesn't need to be perfect. This is just the literal first pass on there being any texture at all.
I'm hypnotized. I'm hypnotized. I don't wanna look away from you. I don't wanna look away. I'm
Yep. Nice
hypnotized.
basic flat thing there. Let's see how that works out. There is one predictable part of this that we know, which is we'll always know exactly where the name of the species is. So we have that as being an actual little inset piece. The number of stars after that, we have no way of knowing. The only way we could reliably make sure that we know where everything else is going to be is to make that, make all of the stars be rendered on one line, which then defeats our entire purpose of making this thing narrow enough that we can fit it on screens. So, there's always a cost. So we do need to make it a bit taller. Just a smidge, not very much. Should be good after that. Okay. Very good. Very good. We also probably want to bring it a bit closer in, just so it's a bit more lined up here. But it is inset, which is good. That's what we wanted to see. Let's make this say 25. Just add an extra 5 for an extra 20 points to it. 15 maybe. Very, very basic. Very basic texturing here. There we go. Okay. And let's go over to here, just so we can grab this specific piece. So I can drop that in. And this wants to be about 20 pixels tall, because that is how long... That is about as much space as we can give to this one. Page header, as it were. Overwrite that. And we want to change the value of the height to 120 pixels when we are drawing this. Is it width and height? There we go. And we can see parts of that already if we just refresh the texture pack. It'll be cut off at the bottom, but we'll have an idea. So yep, there we go. We'll need to rearrange some things, but we gave ourselves space to do that, so that's fine. One thing we could theoretically do is the same thing we have over here with the borders, by making it just scale according to what we actually like give it. But it shouldn't be too huge of a concern. Do I want to center the nameplate? That is my next question. Good, that's an option.
Alright.
I could make this stable by just reducing it to star number, like we have with health and armor here. There you go. We are in graphic design hell. Position for the nameplate needs to move down about 4 or so levels, at least, I think. It shouldn't be too difficult. Just change the Y position there. And that will change our offset. And then after we draw that,
Very much alike.
get a bit more space. Part of why I built everything here is relative.
Remember all the happy times we had?
Because this shaping up a little bit.
Very much alike.
Yeah, they're free.
Alright.
What are my pronouns? He, they.
I'll tell you the truth.
What I meant for that. There we go. Okay, once we've done this, I came up with a list of tiny little functions that we can try to get in. Including one for temporary health, which should be interesting. I think the absorption hearts more or less replicate exactly what that is, which is just hearts that are not replenished by healing. But after that, there's also the fact that multiple sources of temporary hit points stack. And there's no such thing as a stacking status effect currently in vanilla. So we're gonna be trying for that. Sound like Daniel Radcliffe? I mean, he is English. Although I think Daniel Radcliffe is a southerner, and I'm a northerner, so unsurprising. Okay, maybe a little bit more offset on the star line there. I think that's easy, just like a couple extra pixels there. Yeah, 2 pixels. 2 pixels will do. Defo not Northern? Absolutely am. Can promise you, mate. Where am I from in the north? I'm from Darlington. From Darlow. And I currently live in Borough, so... I'm not Scottish, which is theoretically as north as you can get, but yeah, nonetheless. I have not heard of Chorley, though, I'm afraid. Is that summon? Bear in mind, my knowledge of geography is hideous. Okay, yeah, should go quite nicely. Right. Reboot so that we'll see how that looks. Downsend, how you doing? Unfortunately, it's not doing too well. It got taken over by the Tories last election. Was a Labour county for decades. Oh well. We are more northerner? Okay. As long as you're more north than Eton, it's not a contest. Okay, how's that look? Okay, that's lined up the stars quite nicely, I think. So if we offset the name a little bit, that should be more or less good, I think. You definitely need to make this not white, but other than that, yeah, looking good. So let's see, if we just want to offset that, we can just add to the Y position. So say +4, and let's see, Y position -4. That's the X position, not the Y position. The X position tells you all you need to know about this. Right. So what kind of texturing do we want to do in this space? We could just do what we do over here. Or we could just replicate this on a bigger scale. Nice to have an actual boundary around the stars, but again we don't know how we don't know ahead of time how many lines there'll be. Oh, to your round. You'd use your input. No, book isn't around. Okay, that's fine. See, let's add this just to see how it looks, at the very least. Very, very simple texturing, but I'm doing this live on camera, so of course it's gonna be. This is peak programmer art right here. One thing programmers know how to do, it's to reuse existing assets. There we go. That'll do for now, for a quick check. Yeah, I could break this down into scaling textures, like the boundaries around the lists. I don't know if that feels like overkill. That might be complete total overkill. Ooh, we need to move these stars down a couple more pixels. inset the rest of the text, though. Just a smidge more, so it's not right along this line. Probably worth then subtracting the Y position here. And just adding slightly more there. So on the base stats, that's a negative. On the template stats, that's a positive. So, plus 14 there. Wait, nope. There. Plus 10. 8. There. So that'll mean all of this gets nudged in slightly more. And then over here. That's good otherwise. Let's see how that scales up. Should be fine. Can we get that effect going? That is part of... Actually, that's the button. Wait, no, that's the button. That part was... Let's see. Current species? Is that the same one? Nope, that's just a getter. Gotcha. Get current species. Where are you? Okay, current species name, stars, types. There we are. Draw centered string. Right there. Draw sting your shadow. There you are. So when we draw that, what is going wrong with it? Why are we not getting that? Because apparently we're giving it a nope. iText component font. That's not right. Font renderer. Yes, good. It is literally just a component text difference, apparently. Okay. How bizarre. Usually there's a bit more to it than that, but yeah. Okay, that should get things where they should be. This bottom piece is misaligned. There we go. It's quick, it's extremely quick art, there's gonna be errors. Half these streams are just errors. There. Okay. Okay, right. One way or the other, this is the last time I'm booting this for just doing graphics work. Let me see, what do I have? What do I got a list of? Temporary hit points, a status effect that reduces maximum health, the antipode, the opposite of health boost, because there is currently nothing that actually does that. Weirdly enough. You'd think Minecraft would cover that, but apparently not. Health boost that is harder to remove and more permanent, otherwise known as Constitution Drain. Some kind of ability that summons mobs. Yeah, that'd be good. Okay, that's looking quite nice and tidy. Oh, it needs to be slightly larger. It needs to be slightly wider. Damn. Ah. Fine for that, yeah, but it needs to be slightly wider because, oof, just very slightly. Very slightly. I can probably expand the number of stars per line? There's an idea. Like at this width. But on the other hand, if the number of stars goes off the side, then how are you supposed to know how many stars you've got left? Still, I think that's approaching perfect. Maybe I just move stars to like the bottom section or something. Maybe just move stars to down here, and then everything here is fairly reliably sized. Oh, there's a point. No, I said it. This is the last time I was gonna boot this for right now. But okay, that's looking good. I'm liking the looks of that. What do we think, chat? Looking good? Let's see that with the maximum capacity. Whew. Order of application does matter with templates, by the way, so having it be like zombie later would theoretically maybe lose more stuff, but oh boy, that's a lot of stuff right there. Glad I added a clear button. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah. Looking nice. Looking nice. Okay. What is on my list? Okay, so we've got Status Effect that is essentially just a recoded absorption but for temporary hit points, and which will stack with what you already have if you've already got it. That might require some testing, I think. Because otherwise every time you get given a higher tier of it, I think it just like adds more. Let's see how absorption actually works. Let's test that a little bit. Just so we get a better idea of it. Because otherwise, I think this can be done quite happily. Oh, I see Lucian lurking. How you doing? Where's our main testing? Testing 0. Yeah. It's been a little bit of a while since I've been in here, but I'm pretty sure the only thing I changed was GUI, so it shouldn't be a huge problem. Oh, I forgot about that. Okay, I forgot it's still apparently winter. Shouldn't be for much longer, but it's apparently still winter, so the foxes have their little winter clothes on. Yips, yes, many yips. Oh boy. Okay. So. I'm in survival mode. Why do I not see my HUD? Am I dead? Did I die at some point? I will almost bet you I was still doing possession work here before. Did he attack me? No. Okay. Much like Sea of Thieves, dying tends to solve a lot of problems. Okay. So, let's... it's... Effect, give dev, absorption. Okay. If I then take some damage, see... Oh, I don't want to take damage from that husk because he will just knock me out. Okay, I can probably jump from the top of this cage though. Okay. If I then reapply absorption. just fills in the extra heart. Whereas what we wanted to do when we add extra hit points to people is to actually stack up rather than just resetting them. Okay, but it does otherwise work just fine. Also, the default appears to be 2 hearts, whereas we want to be necessarily potentially down to 1. So, okay, we can figure that out. We can figure that out. So, potion, temp, HP. Extends. Potion heal. Sleep should be fine for now. Okay. It's not a bad effect, and its color for right now. Oh, what is a good color? It's like a generator that I keep using somewhere. It's much easier. I feel like it should be some kind of light red. Like there, maybe. There we go, that's a good color. Okay, that is the hex code, and if we convert that to decimal, that'll be the code that Minecraft uses. There. Why are you complaining? Oh, effect type, okay. Beneficial. There. Okay. Currently doesn't do anything. But not doing anything is an important step to doing something. Okay, where's my line file? It's a bit lengthy. Let's call it that. 10 HP. Very long names are usually a bad thing to have in something that's going to be displayed on your HUD. Very quickly, just test if it's actually been added. So let's see, absorption, is that just in some... There you are. So, effect, give, dev, Claros, temp health. Temporary HP. There we go. No icon just yet, but progress. Okay. So the next thing is to make that actually add health. So it needs to... Ooh. Set absorption amount. That is a different thing. Yeah. We need to add to the absorption amount and also heal. Wait, no, does that just increase health unilaterally? Change the amount of health added by the absorption effect. Every time absorption effect gets added, it was resetting the amount of health you had. Set absorption amount existing plus 4 times amplifier. So minimum 2 hearts. Hang on a moment here. That's curious. Doesn't mark it as dirty, so it's not that it gets healed up there. We might just be able to extend from absorption, actually, looking at that. Well, let's see. Affect entity. There we are. That happens before all that goes in, so if we call to that and then go through perform effect, I think. The main thing we want to do is alter the amplifier. So it's amplifier 0, amplifier 1, 2, 3, I think 5 is like 4 or 5 is like the highest you can theoretically get from total master potions. It's either affect entity or it's perform effect. The question is how. What is the order that these things are added? It's like when that happens. Apply attribute modifiers. Let's see what that is. On changed potion effect or on new potion effect. Just immediately applies them. Okay. So I would need to mix in, effectively, to living entity on new potion effect. Oh boy. What does this reapply value do? Exactly. If reapply was remote, then remove and reapply. Okay, straightforward, I guess. Add potion effects for living entity. Okay. Living entity mix in. I think I have an add in here somewhere. No, I don't. Okay. Stack 10 HP. Exact piece is gonna be here. Forge bow, what you got for me? Forge bow is typing. There we go. Power does not exist. Okay, Forge Bot doesn't know. That shouldn't be too hard to find though. Let's see. L next slash Minecraft slash potion slash effects. There. Okay. So this gets called before the actual add potion effect gets called. So what we can do is say that take the effect instance existing active potion effect via potions dot temp HP. If existing does not equal null, then effect in equals. Can I just set the amplifier? Out of curiosity, no, I can't. Okay. Effect in equals new effect instance via potions dot temp HP. Effect in duration. Pretty sure that's the wrong point. Nope, that's correct. Okay. And existing amplifier plus effect in dot amplifier. So I'll just combine those together, and then I probably do the particles in the ambient as well. There. Okay. Here. Right. So now, every time we try to apply temporary hit points, it should stack rather than just overriding. Still won't have an effect, but this is the crucial difference between temporary hit points and absorption. Temporary hit points are not easy to come by. In D&D, there's a number of sources for them. They're just things you don't. They're very much like absorption. But anyways. See if we got that function working. So temporary hit points 1. Give me more temp health. Still temp 1. Okay. Is that because the amplifier is defaulting to 0? I wonder. I'll bet that's it. So we're just adding zeros together, hence it's not actually climbing at all. Okay. So max 1 and that, then. Right. Real quick, before my next break. I wonder, has Minecraft auto-generated a splash potion of temporary HP? Would that make this easier? Probably worth checking. What do we get? Besides my microphone cable caught on my fox pin. Okay. Effect, give, dev, that. Still just that. Okay. Interesting. Let me just go into creative and check the potions. Yeah, there's no potion of that. Okay, that's fine by me. Okay, so if we do that. Nope, still that. Interesting. Okay. That should be getting cold. We're gonna have to check. But we'll do that Welcome back, everybody, to the final hour of our evening, and we are currently attempting to implement something which has never been done before in Minecraft to my entire knowledge, which is a potion effect that will stack if you already have it running. We're doing this for temporary hit points, which is basically like absorption, and I've added details into the console, so I should be able to see quite clearly if anything is happening. Let's see, we've currently got temporary hit points 2 running. I think I know what I was doing wrong before. Clear that for me. Yep, good. Alright. So, give me temp health 1. Good. Okay, do it again. Still apparently the same. If I do that one more time. No. New effect, still 1. Alright. Why is that the case? Probably because we're getting the wrong source of it. Because get active potion effect can be a little bit funky. So let's see. What can we do here? Get active potion. Potions map. I suppose I can just get the active potions map part, can't I? There's a fort. You literally have that. Active potion dot contains key effect in dot potion. So then we just potions map get effect in dot potion. Yep. Be gone, goblins. Okay, so this fine. It's probably worth me just getting the effect. Efficiency's sake here. I have already expanded this a bit, so now instead of just purely looking for potion 10 HP, there's now an interface that we can tack onto any potion we like, and it will give it this behavior. So that's good. All of this should be fine. Pretty sure this should be running. It's obviously running because it's giving us the output. It's just not actually altering the value as near as I can tell. The idea here is that multiple sources of temporary hit points will stack rather than just the biggest one overriding it.
That's kind of crap. I want to do that again.
And then once we got that working, we can figure out how to get it to actually make your absorption amount be correct. Okay. What have guns? Give F 10 health. Okay. So far, it's done the thing. Existing 0, new 1. Existing 0, new 1. Okay. Why is that the case? Logically, every time we add that, it should be getting the correct one. So what's doing that? We ideally don't want to do is potion active, because this can actually be overridden by things that will then not be remotely affectable. I don't know why you would give somebody permanent and a status effect ability that just gives them permanent temporary health, but I guess theoretically you can. I guess that I'm going to just need to do a thing here. Which is private boolean. That. And this would be. I'm going to need the living entity for this. What that'll mean is we'll call the super, and then this will just not trigger when it registers that we're trying to call the super, because otherwise it'll just create an infinite loop. amplifiers were different, so why were we not seeing any difference there? I wonder. Probably because it just wasn't getting applied. Okay. See what we get. But yeah, if we make a potion of temporary hit points and just make a fountain of it, then you can just stand under it and get increasingly more hit points. Okay. Effect, give death. 2. There we go. If I do that again, goes up to 3. Okay, there is a problem here that we need to address, but it is going up every time we apply it. Good. So I'm guessing this just assumes false then? Returnable? If that's the case, add potion effect. Then somewhere inside of living entity we should see that happening with commands. Effect command, add effect. Okay. Effect instance, add potion effect. Plus I equals 0. There we go. Okay. So in our mix sim, we'll set that to true. And then we cancel it so we don't actually call the rest of the function. But okay, that seemed to work. Hurrah! So now, the next step is to just get it to affect your absorption hit points, which are not difficult. The question is, will it affect them correctly? I'm gonna have this be weaker than absorption, so it only gives you half a heart per tier. Sets anymore. Okay, temporary hit points 4. Remove all the effects. Okay. Stand by the yips, at least then my audio will be on brand. At all. Did I reboot properly? Okay, well we did at least fix that problem. So it does actually now say that it's applied it. Nothing should be immune to temporary hit points, but it's not impossible to add that. Annoying that absorption is literally just a float value inside of the entity, but oh well, we'll just have to deal, I guess. If it was an actual, like, attributes, then it'd be much easier to modify like this, but clear. Yeah. I'm just gonna add a button around here somewhere to give me that. Actually, because it is gonna be such a hassle doing this every single time. to give. I immediately regret putting this right next to a nether portal. Oh well. Okay, there we go. So, fill that up. Good. And every time I push this, it is increasing my absorption by 1. Good, and it just takes it away. Great. So that, now, is working exactly as intended. 10 extra health gives me 5 extra hearts. Good! And if I take damage, that goes down, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem, I think. Well. Okay. We have stacking. We have a stacking potion effect, everybody. And once it's gone, whole thing goes away. Yeah, there we go. Hooray! Okay. Very nice. First of its kind. No other mod has ever done that. Can I literally... I could extend from this, but I need to do something about the name. Yeah, set the run again. It's probably good to get rid of that. Just so it's one less thing I'm replicating here. There. Just a stacking form of the absorption effect. Basically. Oh, but we are doing much lower values, there's a point. So actually there is a point to me doing that. Dreads. Hoist by my own Picard. Which I think has a new season coming out. So come to think of it. Wouldn't that be fun? Okay. So it doesn't have an icon yet, but that's something to tick off our list. So then we need an effect that reduces maximum health, the opposite of health boost. Which, again, fairly straightforward. All we need to do is just take this and make it, and just invert the operation. Yeah, add attribute modifier, max health for operation addition. If we just make that a remove, then it does the exact opposite. So let's create that. So potion health green. Should this one stack? I think so. Okay. Constructor. Definitely a bad effect. And for color, I want something dark, I think. Dark and purpley, dark and red, maybe. Very dark red, or dark gray, maybe. Somewhere in between. Oh, very dark red. Okay. Let's grab a quick UUID. from, there is literally UID-generated.net. Saves me a lot of time, that. Okay, and operation. So seriously not a... Oh, right, yes. I am a fool. Instead of that, just do that. Job done. Okay. There we have it. Should be straightforward. So it is literally health boost in opposite. So if you get to health drain 5, you have no health left. If you have no temporary hit points. Okay, let's add some for that. So here's the question. Should this be a stacking status effect? If you get hit by this multiple times, should it just add together rather than being a single thing? Because we can very easily make this stacking. I want to make this stacking 1 point rather than 4. Do I want to make this a half heart or 2 hearts? For right now, we'll just leave it as is. For right now. There's a 4. I can rework regeneration now. Because there's, regeneration recovers certain types of damage, but other kinds will bypass it, that kind of thing. So if you deal acid and fire damage to, say, a troll, then it can't recover that health, but it can recover basically anything else. I could, now, have the, any damage it can't retain, it can't fix, be actually just dealt in health drain. There's an idea. Anyways. Make sure this works. Still haven't figured out how to implement a negative level, which is probably a thing I'm going to be curious to have later down the road. Okay, so there's health drain. Yep, lost 2 hearts. And there's some more gone. Yeah, I think that should be taken to a point. just the 1 half heart every time that happens. Let me have a quick look at the SRT. Da-da-dum-da-dum-da-dum. Energy drain. Let's see. Each successful energy drain bestows 1 or more negative levels. The creature's description specifies how many. If an attack includes an energy drain, scores critical hit, drains twice the amount. Creature gains 5 temporary hit points, 10 critical hit for each negative level it bestows. Remain until 24 hours have passed, or all they are removed by spell, such as restoration. I feel if a character with negative levels at least equal to her current level or drained below first is instantly slain. Okay, so that should mean that we basically want to just have that be 1 point and stackable. So every time you get hit with health drain, it goes it goes a little bit less, a little bit less. And when you have 20, which would be health drain XX, you're gone. I just need to remember that health drain should be 24 hours long, full day, 20 minutes long every time it gets applied. Next question. Should some of these, like, temporary health should definitely go away if you sleep? Do we want to implement? Do we want to implement that now? Like players sleep in bed kind of events? I think we're okay for the time being. Okay, so the next one is a variant of this, which is actually worse because it will not be removed by milk. So let me just clone this to create health damage. Okay, so if we have a look at effect, we should be able to see things that will remove it. Doesn't look like they're written in. Interestingly, effect instance. Curative items. There we are. Okay.
Remember all the happy times we had?
Right at the bottom. Right at the bottom. Okay, so if a curative items equals null, get potion, get curative items, which is part of iForge effect, and just by default returns a milk bucket. Okay. In our case, we want to say that our health drain cannot be cured like that.
Alright,
iForge effect, yes, is
I'll tell you the truth.
exactly what I'm looking for. Implements iForge effect. There's a break there. So public list item stack get curative items will return an empty list. So that should mean if we try to drink milk, it ain't gonna remove health drain. Is there a thing in here for, like, whether or not it's, like, just what the default duration is? I don't think so, but you never know. Yeah, it's just set. That's fine. Run. Oh, it would probably help if I actually also added that to our list of potions. I should maybe say, temporary hit points, health damage, and health drain will not be craftable as potions. Because that would be kind of absurd. You would basically just make a potion machine gun of health drain and then literally no one could survive it. End of the point. Cool boy. So we've made something that... We've made multiple, actually, potions that will stack, so every time you get hit with one, it increases the amplifier. We've made one of those that gives you more absorption health. We've made one that will reduce your maximum health total, and we've now made a version of that that cannot be cured with milk. Hopefully. There was some kind of problem there. What happened? One or more entry values did not copy to the correct ID. Oh, on the overlay. Where did that happen? Is it just because I put iForge effect in here somewhere? Was that it? Let's try reading that like that. Forge does a bunch of injection, and sometimes it makes stuff it makes stuff into other stuff just in vanilla without actually mentioning it. So here's open. So I think all effects are by default iForge effects. That might have been the problem if I was applying the interface twice. And there is some kind of problem here. Is it just because they has the same... No, it can't be that, surely. What is going on here? Is it because I have the same UUID? That could be it. That could well be it. Just because they have the same color as the next question. Oh, hello, I saw something there. Registry, micromob effect, override did not have an association, health drain. Apparently. Huh? What are you talking about? Micromob effect, override did not have an associated owner object. What? What are you talking about? Yep, that's used correctly right there. Do I need to override it? No, that can't be right. Specified by cured items in iForge effect. Okay, so yes, it's injected it just fine there. I don't understand what your complaint is. Let's see. Actually, we can do okay, and just give it some value there. There. Okay. Ah, that's probably it right there. I forgot to change that value. But now I can have a variety of things going on, so it's fine for the most part. Haven't changed the color. But okay. Fingers crossed we can actually get into this thing now. Yeah, that was my problem, was both drain and damage were registering as health damage. Or health drain, rather. question: should it stay temporary HP, or should it be altered to temp health, or something a bit more fantastical than that very rote description of what it is? Okay, health drain, very low health. Oh, it has a different value now. I'm going to have to die. There we go. Like four. Okay. So, effect, give, dev, Farod, health, damage. Hello, nothing has happened. Or it is, but I think the hearts are actually being rendered weirdly here. Okay. Let's just fix up that lang. See how we go. There we go. Health damage 4. So once this goes away, I should get back to 2 hearts. There we go. Yeah, 2 hearts regained. Good. Okay, that is health damage. Let me grab a milk bucket. Might even be worth me grabbing a cow for that matter. Quiet and silent, I think is the name. I hope so. There we go. Okay. So if I give myself that effect again. Nope. It goes away. Forgot how graphic that sound effect can be. If I make it health drain, on the other hand, and say it's 5 instead of just that. Okay. It didn't go away. You can't drink health drain away. You can drink health damage, but not health drain. Oof. That is the much, much worse one. For obvious reasons. So I just gotta wait for that to go, and back they go. Correct. Okay. Huzzah! We have one neat stacking way of giving players more health, and 2 devious ways of removing it. Nice. I like it. Let's see. Pair of status effects for Charmed and Dominated, primarily as AI hooks. That'd be so... We could make them real quick and cheap easily, but it would just be... there would be nothing to them by definition. Let's see. A generic companion summoning ability, possibly using a generic interface that summoning spells can hook onto later. Foy. We can make an ability that will spawn a creature. No question. That part is straightforward. We could build in most of the code used for mob spawners to make it spawn specific creatures that we can alter with MBT data, so any specific creature can have its own thing. Exactly what else happens with that, I'm not sure. The main thing is that there's abilities like, that particular one was prompted by vampires. Do I have... Yes, I do. Okay. Okay, if we look at vampires, they have a... not create spawn, it is... Children of the Night. Once per day can call forth 1d6 plus 1 rat swarms, so between 2 and 7, 2 to 5 bat swarms, or a pack of 3 to 18 wolves as a standard action. Creatures arrive in 2d6 rounds and serve the vampire for up to an hour. Now, that is more complex than just having an ability that spawns a creature, because that requires a UI for you to choose what you summon. Now in this case, we could easily build in a range of like how many and like spawn delay, that kind of thing. Fairly straightforward, but that would require us building a new UI, and we have like 10 minutes left in stream. So we'll probably get to something like this next week, but it should be fun. Blood Drain, by the way, is where you get your random volume of health drain damage in. And then the vampire gets 10 hit points. Pretty nice, very good deal for them. So now I have the capacity to make a blood drain ability. Bet you didn't see that one coming. Okay, for now I am just gonna change this to say, what do we call this? What's a nice thematic name that boils down to temporary hit points? Something ideally fairly short, because temporary hit points could theoretically get to be a big number. Vitality, maybe? Bonus vitality? Bonus health, I guess? Really? Does that work well enough? I guess bonus health works. Yeah. Instead of health boost, it's like bonus health. Fine. It's fine. Still shorter than temporary HP, so there's that. Ooh, actually, no, it might not be. That might actually be longer. Never mind. It's fine. I could figure I could just reduce it even further to plus health or health plus. Yeah. Okay. God, sleep is I think that is, without a doubt, all the time that I have for tonight. So I hope everybody's enjoyed. We got to make the template screen look pretty much complete. We added temporary hit points, health damage, and health drain, free potion effects, which to my knowledge are the first potion effects in Minecraft history, including the modding community, that stack rather than overriding one another. And we also managed to make one that does not respond to the classic treatment of carry a cow in a boat somewhere. Which is nice to have. So now there is an actual meaningful negative there. You can't get rid of it, no matter how hard you try. We have a negative effect you can't get rid of. Ooh, that's just rife for fun. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed. My next stream will be on Thursday with the Will Atlantis crew, possibly Sea of Thieves, possibly some more Deep Rock Galactic, because we're certainly having fun with that. Then on Saturday, we have the carousel, playing some random games with patrons and talking about any videos I made this past week. Patrons, give me a prod if there's a voice clip I promised you that I haven't gotten around to just yet. It's been a wild couple of weeks. Also keep an eye out for a poll that's coming up fairly soon regarding videos. Otherwise, I'll be back on Tuesday for some more building blocks. Any videos I make are video.com/rememberhomic, and everything I do is powered by you at patreon.com/lying. Hope you all enjoyed.